welcome to the September 11th, 2023 Borough Council meeting. Just to have something to say, today marks the 22nd anniversary of the worst terror attack in our nation's history. At the World Trade Center, 2,753 people died, of whom 343 were firefighters and 72 were police officers. At the Pentagon, 184 people lost their lives and 40 individuals died outside Shanksville, for a total of 2,977 lives lost. During our moment of silence this evening, I would like for us all to recall all those that lost their lives, especially the first responders who sacrificed their lives to save others. Also, in the 22 years since this horrific attack, hundreds of first responders and citizens have succumbed to debilitating illness as a result of the exposure to the harmful substances on that day and the days followed the attack. So please also remember them and the families of those affected by this terrible tragedy as we have a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. President,
yes.
Can I add to that, please?
Please.
We found out Saturday that Crafton Borough's longtime volunteer fire chief passed away. Our volunteers are actually there now at the service in memorial, and he served the members of this community and as a mutual aid fire chief for many decades. And I just wanted to note that in our prayers and our thoughts tonight as well.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. Our prayers are with him and his family. So we'll have a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Kent.
Ms. Barrett?
Here.
Mr. Lindsay?
Here.
Mr. Panza?
Here.
Mr. Ray? Mr. Romanovich?
Present.
Mr. Tarosi?
Present.
Mr. Santori?
Present.
Mayor Shank?
Present. Okay, up next, we'd like to have approval of the minutes from the August 7th, 2023 council meeting.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second. Any one abstain?
Yeah, I don't think Jim was at the meeting, and I think.
You know what, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I was talking about the
Oh.
last meeting.
I'm
Good.
sorry.
We have the meeting.
Okay.
for August, or-
Oh, that's right, August.
Sorry.
Silly goose.
It's hard to believe it's September.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstained? Opposed? Motion carries. Now I'd like to have a hearing of the citizens. Any person wishing to address general business or agenda items can be heard at this time.
Good evening. Cheryl Bacon, 884 Green Tree Road. I just have one quick question for council and the borough manager. Up until sometime early in 2023, every Friday, I looked forward to receiving an email blast from the borough of Green Tree in my emails. It caught me up to date on what was going on and advised me of things that were coming up in the future. And I noticed for at least the last 6+ months, the email blast on Fridays, I haven't seen one. And I just wondered if somebody could enlighten us as to what has happened to the emails. I think this is an effective way in 2023 for us to be communicating with our citizens. It keeps everybody apprised of what's happening in the borough, quick and easy. I had information from one of our seniors that they felt that their senior picnic attendance was down because many people did not know that the picnic was going on because they hadn't received any quick email kind of communication. So if there's a money issue in sending out the emails. Council needs to communicate to business people like me and allow us to get to work on funding this type of program. If there's not a funding issue, can someone please explain why this effective communication has been stopped? Thank you.
So Cheryl, we discontinued the greetings when we published the new website. So all of the information that normally would be put out on the greetings is on the homepage of the website through Events and News. So it pops up immediately front and center. One of the other things that we're looking to do, would like to do, launch it for January, is another application. It's like a branded mobile app for Green Tree. And you can sign up for it on your phone, which is hopefully the same way that you get most of your other news. And you can sign up for all different types of notifications, and it will be right at your fingertips, right on your phone. So, and it'll be, you can sign up for notifications or just allow yourself to go in and look for things, but that will pop up on your phone. You know, just, I think if you have apps, you know how you get those notifications. So I think that'll also be extremely timely because it won't come once a week. It can come every day or several times a day.
Yeah. I actually met with our borough manager today to discuss this and to explore our future options. It is not about money in terms of getting an email blast. It is labor intensive. So we are looking to develop a plan with the new app. And if we go this route and we're exploring different routes, it would actually push to many different things at one time. So if you just wanted those email alerts, you would get the email alerts. If it was coming through your app on your phone, that would allow us to do one thing for all of the different ways that we communicate versus having to duplicate those efforts multiple times a week. So we are working on it. Judy has presented that idea, and then I'm trying to work out an efficient communication schedule for that.
In retrospect, it's fine that it's on the website now, but I don't believe anybody communicated to the citizenry that the email blast was being discontinued, and this is where we should look for information from this point forward. That would have been helpful to them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel that question was directed towards me. Okay, I was like, I'm not sure why, Cheryl, but yeah, I understand.
In general, that's a comment.
Yeah.
It's fine, the new website went up, the stuff is there, but nobody told us that the emails were gonna go away and that we should look to the website for that information from this point on.
I'm not
I
sure.
thought we did mention that when we were bragging about the new website, but if we missed it, my apologies.
I had heard from several citizens over the weekend about the concerns with the missing emails. And I'm glad that, you know, we're exploring new options to hopefully have in place after the new year.
Hi, Dave Pastorkovich, 1001 Norris Drive. I had previously visited with you folks back in June to request a three-way stop at Glencoe and Sheila because of the speeding coming down Glencoe. There's no stop sign from Dale all the way down to Whiskey Hollow, and from Whiskey Hollow all the way up to Dale. And there are a lot of children playing on that street. I'm walking my dog on that street. Lots of people walk their pets on that street. And there's actually an incident the other day at the bus stop where someone was speeding down the hill. The bus was stopped. There were parents and children there, went right by the bus. The bus didn't have the arm out, but I really think something needs to be done there. 2 additional stop signs I don't think would be well worth it in saving someone's life or preventing an accident. And I hope you folks give that serious consideration because I definitely think we need that. We have a lot of young people moving into the area, and I want them to have a safe place where they can have their kids out in the street and play without worrying about someone getting hit or injured, or even myself getting injured when I'm walking in the evening. And also further down on that area of Glencoe, as I mentioned before, previously when I visited in June, it's pitch black. We definitely need another street light down there. I mean, it is really dark. And I've had people say that they won't walk down there, and even the people who live there have asked me to come up and make a request because they know that I will, that there needs to be light at that area. So I'm asking you, if you please take that under serious consideration, those two items, and see if we can get that resolved.
Sir.
Yes,
Sorry, you were mentioning on Glencoe where it's pitch black.
yeah, it's
How
further,
far down?
it's when you're coming down the hill at Glencoe, you go past Sheila.
Okay.
And as you go probably about 100 yards more, that area in there, and it's the deer constantly cross, coming from the one side of the road to the other. The weeds are high there.
Right.
And people are flying up and down there too, and it's very dark. So
We're
you
still at the pretty populated part of Glencoe.
Yes.
Before we start getting down in
Yes.
like the borough line projects.
absolutely,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Sir, the last time, did the chief not talk to you after the meeting and said he would have someone, have police patrol that area?
Well, no one spoke to me, no, but I have seen our officers patrolling the area. But it's, I mean, they have a tough job. They have a lot of things. They're busy. They can't be expected to be there. I just think that if you have a three-way stop, they're forced to stop coming down. They're forced to stop coming down Sheila. That's where the only stop sign is right now. And then they're forced to stop coming back up the hill. So I think, that puts them at a break. And at least that gives people an opportunity to stop their vehicle, slow down, and not just make a dead run of it all the way up. My other question is, any further information on what's going on with Boston Market? Have we found someone to occupy that?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, the application development is in progress.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And one more thing, behind Einstein's Bagels, that property is disgusting. That's a total eyesore. I mean, that's right in the gateway of our community. The grass has got to be like about 5 feet high.
Is that on the East Manila side?
Yes,
Mhm.
Yes, that is, we are aware of that property. It is an out-of-town company that owns that strip of land.
okay,
And they're very difficult and slow to respond.
okay.
But I do know that they've been cited.
They've been cited?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I talked with Todd about that. You mentioned it the last time you were here, but somebody else had brought it up, and when I mentioned it to him, he said he had already sent them a letter on that.
Okay.
So it's difficult, obviously, because they don't probably show up for the magistrate hearings, and then you have to go through.
Yeah, because we have a great community, and it's just, we don't need eyesores.
It's been a problem. It's kind of a reoccurring situation for them.
Well, I really hope you folks consider what I've said again, because if you don't, I'll be back. Thank you.
We're
Thanks.
happy to have you. Thank you.
Christine Short, 251 Park Edge. I want to piggyback on Cheryl regarding the email blast. I know it's been a problem. We've been hearing it through the Recreation Board. I'm out in the community. I know other folks are out in the community with the farmers market and stuff. We have residents, there's a lot of older residents here that are 70 plus. They don't do applications, they don't do apps, they don't look at the website. And frankly, the website is a disaster. I mean, I've gone out there, I'm pretty much computer savvy. It's very hard to find things. That's my opinion.
If you could share,
But any,
if I just may say, if there's something you're looking for, you can't find, you could send me an email.
yep.
Because if it's not clear, that's obviously not what we want. We felt that it was,
Um,
internally, we've gotten no complaints, but. certainly
I
if there's something-
mentioned, Judy, I mentioned several times that website, I've heard very negative things about the website. The mobile application is totally out of scale. I mentioned a professional web designer mentioned how out of scale the mobile device is. We spent all that money and our old site seems to be better than this new one.
I don't think that's completely accurate, and that is not, that
That's
is the
my opinion.
first time. Yes, thank
That's
you
my
for
opinion.
saying that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I
Oh, I
con-
interrupted.
Can I
I'm so sorry.
continue?
I'm so sorry. Yes.
So with that said, the residents, we were down about 40 some residents for the senior picnic. And some of those residents have voiced their concern to Jen Matthews and myself, Luann, and half the rec board. We have a dance coming up in September. I think it's not this weekend, it's the following weekend. And usually we get 80 to 90 people there. We only have 16 signed up for the dance. So I don't know if that's being advertised out on the website or
Is that the
what.
back to
but
school dance?
Yes. Yes. You know, that's why I'm saying, why can't we do an email blast? I know it's time consuming. It wasn't time consuming back in the day. I don't know why it's time consuming now. We all do more with less. I know I do. But on another note, let's get off of the negativity. On a positive note, I want to do a shout out to the recreation summer rec program. Jen Matthews, her assistant Abby, all the counselors, all the volunteers. We had over 200 kids. Without those volunteers and counselors and Jen putting all the hard work in, this program would not take off. And I know it's challenging because the folks that are counselors and volunteers, some of them are under the age of 18. And I stress that because I know there's been complaints that, you know, my child's working rec and my child's working the pool. And, you know, when they're under the age 18, they're only allowed to work so many hours a week. So I want to do a shout out to that whole entire group of kids because they did a phenomenal job with those kids. Mr. Shank, Mayor Shank, thank you for having police officers over there. That goes a long way with the drop off and pick up. So again, the shout out for that summer rec program. Ms. Miller, I know sometimes you get complaints.
Never.
But
Not about summer rec.
all right, perfect. But those kids and Jen Matthews and her assistant Abby did a phenomenal job over this summer. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello,
Hello, sir.
Don
Hello.
Folkmar, 1006 Avicole. Many of you know me. Many of you seen me here before. Avicole Drive is a disaster. I worked with the previous borough manager in 2017, I believe. Went and got every neighbor to sign a petition to take care of the cars, the speeding, and turn restrictions on Avicole. Okay? It's been bad this year, really bad. I didn't complain because I understood. I talked to you a little bit about this at the funeral home. We're short on people. I understand how that goes. But the main thing is right now, kids are back in school. The buses drop them off on Green Tree Road. The activity bus drops them off on Green Tree Road. They have to walk all the way down to wherever their homes are. Okay? These people are speeding, cutting through, turning on restricted times. I haven't seen an officer in probably 2 months. Last time I was here was last September complaining because the same thing. We tried to restrict the amount of people cutting through, but the main thing was the safety of the children. It really was. And Shannon, you know, the stop sign by your house should be a whoa.
Oh, yeah, no one stops there.
Yeah, it just, I understand we're stretched thin, but can we watch out for these kids? That's more than anything else.
What time is the activity bus?
I believe it drops off about 5:15, 5:30, somewhere around that. The restrictions, I
Paris.
believe, are what, 3 to 7?
3 to 7.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and the reason it got extended was because of the activity buses. And we've noticed other neighbors who are very upset, and I can bring them all in. The same people that signed a petition, we can all stand here and tell you how bad it is there. I'm not going to do that to you guys, okay? I can be the voice. We just need to, and not just in next week or the week after, once a month or something like that. 2 months ago, I saw an officer had somebody pulled over. I thanked him. Okay. And again, I do understand you're stretched very thin. So, but I would like a little attention paid just to be careful for the kids, okay? And number two, 1010 Avicole Drive, speaking of cutting grass. I think they cut it in May. It's for sale, which I thought the real estate companies usually took care of that. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, it was probably Labor Day last day. You've probably passed it. And it's not a good thing. So, but thank you for your attention. Have a good night.
Thanks for being here.
I'll speak with Acting Chief Lieutenant tomorrow. He's off today about your concerns on Avicole. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. Next up on the agenda, it says Community Pride presentation, but I've been notified that the MRTSA life-saving presentation will not take place this evening due to the fact that the family of the individual that was saved cannot make it. This presentation will be rescheduled for a future county council meeting. So sorry, we won't be able to deliver on that. So we will next move on to new business. And we'll start off with finance and general policy, Mr. Tarosi.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would move that we ratify the actions of the borough manager in paying the August 2023 invoices from the general fund totaling $66,030.61. The farmer's market totaling $1,786.05. Payroll account totaling $389,844.99. The Educational Service Agency totaling $585.32. And finally, credit card, July 2023, the amount of $4,438.30.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Next, I would move that we approve the payment of the September 2023 invoices from the general fund totaling $172,232.97. The storm sewer fund totaling $38,533.78. The sanitary sewer maintenance fund totaling $41,188.78. And the capital projects fund totaling $2,151.18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
And that's the end of new business for finance and general policy.
Thank you very much. Next up, infrastructure, Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're going to discuss Resolution 1331. I move that we adopt Resolution 1331, authorizing the borough manager to execute all documents and agreements with the Commonwealth Financing Authority to obtain a grant in the amount of $495,600 under the Multimodal Transportation Fund for the Green Tree Road Sidewalk Rehabilitation Phase 2 project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Romanovich,
Yes.
Mr. Tarosi,
Yes.
Ms. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay,
Yes.
Mr. Kansas,
Yes.
Mr. Tintori.
Yes. The resolution passes. Thank you, Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Next up is public safety, Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, sir. The Public Safety Committee met with 3 residents that were interested in filling the open civil service commission positions. One, a full-time position. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. We have 3 regular positions and an alternate. So we were interviewing for one of the regular positions and the alternate member. And we came to a conclusion, and our recommendation from my committee is that we appoint these 2 fellows. So I move that we appoint the following residents to the Civil Service Commission. Robert Treglia for a term to expire on March 22nd, 2027. And Frank Fingers to the alternate position for a term to expire on March 5th, 2024, which are filling the unexpired terms of the residents that they are replacing.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Next up, thank you very much, Mr. Lindsay. Next up, Mayor Shank for the mayor's report.
Thank you. The Civil Service Commission's going to meet on on Tuesday, September 19th. That's 8 days from now. And they're going to do the advertisement, hopefully, for one or more officers or to fill the vacancies in our police department. And they're going to go through the process. So hopefully in the pretty near future, within a month or two, that they submit to council the list of 3 recommendation, and council would take it from there. I attended the Sportsman's Bash on Saturday. That's a fundraiser, the only fundraiser Green Tree Volunteer Fire Company has. It looked like it was a success. So I thank them for all they do, the Green Tree Volunteer Fire Company, and all the work they put into that fundraiser. I have mayor's office hours coming up on Saturday, September 23rd, from 9 o'clock to 11:30. So it's not this Saturday, it's a week Saturday. The Green Tree Garden Club's having a luncheon on Thursday. They've invited, I think, the Public Works Department. I've been invited, I believe some staff have been invited. So I will be attending that on this coming Thursday, September 14th. Oktoberfest, you'll hear more, I'm sure, from Mr. Panza. It's this Saturday, September 16th. Russ Barron has been putting a lot of time into it. So has the committee. So hopefully we have good weather on Saturday, September 16th, and that goes well. Robert Johnson, he was a long member of the Public Works Department. He had been retired for a number of years. He died recently. I stopped by the funeral home to pay my respects. He was always friendly anytime you'd run into him, always talkative. So we'll miss Mr. Johnson and thank him for all that he did during this public works and thereafter. It was brought up last time about deer in the community. A lot of things are hard to track, like the population. You know, we really can't track the population in Green Tree as such. Ticks, that's hard to track. But I did look up in regard to vehicle deer incidents. Between January 1st of this year and August, I believe, 14th or mid-August, after the last meeting, there were 6 vehicle deer incidents reported. So 6 times in those 8 months, there was an incident involving a vehicle and a deer that was reported. However, no people were injured and the cars were drivable. So we do have incidents. Luckily, we've not had anything serious. So that's just one of many factors to take into account. I read in the newspaper in Frick Park, actually the city of Pittsburgh is going to do deer hunting from deer stands with bow and arrows. I think it has to be within 20 yards. The bow and arrow shooters have to be certified. So I don't know how that's going to work out. They're going to close Frick Park, obviously during the hunt, but they're trying to take care of some overpopulation of deer in Frick Park.
Mayor, it is open to all Pittsburgh and Allegheny County residents, but you have to apply and they're only taking 20 people to do that.
To shoot.
Mhm,
Okay,
yeah.
it's a limited number, right? I figured it wasn't.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear
Yeah,
because,
okay,
yeah.
thank you for the clarification. Yeah, it's not gonna be several thousand, it's gonna be 20. Okay, in regard to, last time it was brought up about vape shops, the best practice, at least I've determined, and I think others have determined, is that it's a retail use. It's a legal retail use. So if a retail use is allowed in a certain community, a vape shop's a retail use. So best practice would be you can't single out, legal retail uses if a retail use is permitted in a certain area. Whether you like smoking, don't like smoking, not a factor to consider in regard to restricting or not restricting certain uses as long as they're a legal retail shop. in regard to email blast, I so happen to fall in the category of over 70. And I also so happen to fall into the category that I don't go on the web that much. But anyhow, so I depend a lot upon emails just in general to keep apprised of things. So hopefully that other modality that can not duplicate things, but can use a lot of different modalities to get to the borough residents will occur pretty soon. And hopefully one of the modalities is email blast. Thank you, and in my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next up, we'll move to reports from the committees, and the first up is Finance and General Policy. Mr. Troisi.
Yes, the only thing I really have to report at this point is we do have the budget season coming up. So in the next couple of months, our borough manager will be starting to put together our borough budget, and we'll be meeting as a Finance and General Policy Committee with the borough manager regarding that process. We also did tonight get a copy of the formal report from our Duzel with respect to the recent borough audit, and I imagine that once we review that, that'll be a subject of conversation for the next Finance and General Policy meeting as well. That's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to infrastructure. Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our committee met on September 6th via Zoom, discussed several current infrastructure projects and several upcoming projects. Happy to report that the Brook Stairs project should be coming to an end very soon with the removal of the steps and the reclamation of the property and office of the right word there. My apologies. The curb work has already started for our road paving projects for the year. Hopefully that will be completed over the next several weeks. And I believe that was the two most important issues that we had in our meeting to bring up a report this evening, Mr. President. That is the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ray is not here. Does anyone want to do, is there any need for planning and zoning? Okay. We'll move on to public facilities and equipment. Ms. Barron.
Yeah, I have a few things. Up first, the library book sale is happening next month. I want to draw attention that the last book donation day will be on Saturday, September 7th. That is the last time that books will be collected for this year's sale. I'll remind everyone in October too, but it's good to put it on your calendars now.
September 7th?
Oh, I'm sorry, October.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's September now. The library book sale will begin on October 12th at 7 o'clock with the preview sale, and then we'll continue through the weekend. So that will be the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th of October. If we have folks who are looking to volunteer, you can reach out directly to the library and they will get you some slots in to volunteer. It is a awesome event. There will be many books and there's lots of opportunity to volunteer. Whether you can volunteer a little or a lot. I will be there. I'll be volunteering and I can't wait. The other update I have is in regards to the library. If you remember, I have said a few times that our historical society has reached out to the library to ask for some assistance in kind of planning the path of their future. And the library has been working on that and has talked to the library board and has come up with some ideas of how they can help. So myself, our library director, Adana Trey, and our borough manager will be meeting with the Historical Society tomorrow morning so that we can have that conversation to really help support the future of the Historical Society and how it can benefit our community members who live here and for those that have lived here or have historical ties to Green Tree in the future. Our Historical Society basically consists of 3 very dedicated volunteers who have put countless hours into preserving our history. And they did come to the library to ask for assistance in reaching the next level of their work and kind of working through some of the issues that they have. And the library is a place where you can come for assistance, but also is a place that you can retrieve information. We have a lot of wonderful historical gems in the Historical Society, but we don't really have a whole lot of access to those materials or even understanding what is in those collections. So myself, our borough manager, and our library director will be meeting tomorrow morning. And then I'll have more to report at our next meeting from that as well. The Public Facilities and Equipment Committee will be meeting later this month to also talk about the things that might be high priority for our facilities and our parks in 2024 as we prepare for our budget season. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Next up, we'll move to public safety and public safety equipment. Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, sir. The mayor already touched base on it. We're looking forward to the meeting next week with civil service so that they can get the ball rolling on our new hires for the police department and some other issues. I shouldn't say issues. Some other aspects of the Civil Service Commission needs to address. So I'll have more to report next month, but I would imagine between now and our next meeting that an advertisement will be out in the public to address what our testing dates would be for those positions. So I will report back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, recreation, programming, community welfare. Mr. Pans.
Thank you. I want to thank the mayor for touching upon the event at the fire hall, which I was going to talk about. I would like to thank the mayor for mentioning Oktoberfest, which I was going to talk about. And I would like to thank the mayor for mentioning the city of Pittsburgh started the archery program to combat the deer. So thank you, Mayor. You got about 90% of my
You're welcome.
thing done tonight. However, in going with the deer problem, I figured right after Oktoberfest is over, I want to delve into trying to find a solution to see what we can do about the deer. And that's why the last meeting I mentioned forming a group of people that have said they would volunteer so that we could start in one direction. So I think before we make any major plans, I think this group of people that said they would volunteer, we should have a meeting to discuss exactly what we want to do to approach this. With the city of Pittsburgh now trying to help, this may be the time that we all work together, because of course, if we're controlling our population and the city wasn't, then we're wasting our time. I want my group to think, should we contact other communities and meet with them first? Should we have a town hall meeting to inform the people of what to do? Should we go out and try to just find a group to help us control the deer? So I think right after Oktoberfest, I'll talk to the volunteers to see what nights best to have a meeting, and then we would sit down and talk about which direction we want to go. We also are looking for one other volunteer to join our task force. So that's out there if anyone else is interested, like maybe the mayor or something.
I just want to, for point of clarification, so everyone does not get confused. The city's deer plan is limited to Frick Park, which is miles away from where we are. And it has, the deer in Frick Park have no place in Green Tree. I just want to be very clear about that.
I totally understand. But why I brought that up is that if they're aware of that, then maybe if we are going to start to try to control the population, then maybe the city of Pittsburgh would have an open air to us over here. Because if not, like.
I'm not even gonna I'm glad your task force is gonna solve that problem,
Well,
Ron.
we're gonna
Thank you.
Look into it. I
Yeah.
didn't say solve.
I will,
We're gonna look
yeah.
into it. As far as the Oktoberfest, I, of course, was in charge of weather, and I think I'll be delivering 75 degrees and sunny for this Saturday. Going out on a limb, but
We're holding you to that.
hoping things will be good. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Panza. As for the president's report, just a few things. Just a reminder again, Saturday, September 23rd is the electronics recycling event from 10:30 to 1 o'clock. It's always been pretty popular. We got people lined up ahead of time, so make sure you remember to bring up your electronics to be recycled for free. A couple things I do want to acknowledge. That Robert Johnson passed away. He wasn't, certainly he's my neighbor for years across the street from me. He definitely was a many-year member of Public Works, and he was also a big member of the American Legion, always there with the flag. At his funeral, his son was telling me how happy they were that the military was there. They did a very nice salute and tribute to Bob. So a lot of us will always remember him. So I just wanted to make sure I just followed up on the mayor's thoughts. Also, just remember to check out the newsletter, because there is a lot of information in the newsletter. Some of the info that you may not get in the email, but any club can put their information in here. And I think a lot of people read it. I hope they do. Maybe I'm an older person, I read it. So it's easier. The website certainly has it. I am old, yes. Thank you. Not as old as some people, but I'm old. No, but seriously, the website, there is a lot of information, and plus the newsletter. So we would encourage any group, any organization to put their information in. We'd be more than happy to facilitate that for them. I was remiss in that I did not mention that before we opened our council meeting, that council was in session for a executive session on personnel matters. So we can add that agenda, that I neglected to mention that at the first part of our agenda. I think that is all for me. So we'll move to the manager report. Ms. Miller.
Well, I was going to mention the recycling event that you took,
I sold.
but I will say that the residents of Green Tree should be very grateful to this council for providing that opportunity. I took 2 TVs to be recycled, and it cost me $120 just to get rid of the junky TVs. So
Well, you could have just brought them to work.
I would never do that. I'm not a resident, sadly, so I
charge you
paid.
half.
Yeah, no, but it is a tremendous value. I mean, it really is when they charge you by the pound and it's a big old projection TV. Anyway, so it's a really great opportunity to get rid of things for free. And then the only other thing I have is just to, if you or anybody you know might be interested in serving on the zoning hearing board, we have a vacancy remaining on that board, and we would very much like to get that filled as soon as possible. So if you or anybody you know might be interested in serving, we would love to have you fill out a volunteer application on the website. That's it.
Before we adjourn, I have a couple other issues to discuss. One is a planning issue. Mr. Tarosi?
Not so much an issue, but
Not an issue,
I did want to make an announcement. I know the Planning Commission has been working very hard on the comprehensive plan. We have what I believe is an anticipated date for a public meeting coming up once the Planning Commission finishes their final review and is ready to distribute the comprehensive plan. So please keep an eye on our website and look for news on the public meeting that'll be coming up in the next couple of months. Hopefully, it's very important to the borough because it does kind of lay out what our anticipated vision is for Green Tree Borough's future, and we'd like as many people to participate as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. One other issue. I'll just ask Mr. Panza. Recently, I was up Route 28, and they are doing extensive sound barrier stuff.
Yes.
And you go on the turnpike, extensive sign barriers. So I just wondered if anything.
Yes,
Your groups met or?
yes, Mike Doyle, Congressman Mike Doyle promised them sign barriers in 1996, and now it's coming to fruition. That's because they expanded the highway, and once they expanded the highway under federal law, even though this is a state highway, they still were following federal mandates to add the sign barriers. However, 28 is still a state highway and we're dealing with a federal highway. However, with our meeting that I believe you attended with PennDOT.
Yes. That was a while.
That when PennDOT was personally here, they said the sign barriers in their plans, it's just a matter of paying for it.
Okay, so we haven't heard anything.
Since
I will tell you that I had a meeting with PennDOT probably about a month and a half ago. It was mostly about the interchange, but then we were talking about the additional lane on Parkway. And they did indicate that they believe that to be an important part of the improvements. And the good news is they will have a public meeting here in Green Tree, so we can certainly alert every resident that has that concern. So that's an opportunity that will be forthcoming, but there's no date set yet.
Thank you. That is all I have.
I did forget one
Yes,
thing.
sure.
September is Love Your Library Month, which means that donations to the library will be matched through the Jack Buncher Foundation. It's in its 8th year, and so if you are thinking about making any year-end contributions, Love Your Library Month is happening now through the end of September.
Oh, great. So we can
Can
donate to this.
every dollar helps.
Thank you. That's good news.
okay, I would like to make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.